Hello! God. That was very energetic and not at all in line with what's going on in here at the moment, which is the complete opposite. Hello. I'm Kim, if you're new here. This is the Coffee and Craft chat. I run a business called Beech Tree Handmade, and that's kind of what I'm doing in this video today because I am a little bit all over the shop and a little bit overwhelmed with very self-imposed deadlines, but nevertheless things need to get done. I'm supposed to be working on releasing some bags that frankly should be up in the shop already by now. As you can see, they're not in the shop and they're not finished. And I'm also supposed to be working on a small, tiny collection of stuff to go up at the end of the month. Will it get done? I doubt it. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing this in the video, but I also thought we would talk about some fairly weird habits that I've developed over the years running a business by myself. Because one, I think it would be funny, and two, I want to see if there's anybody else that has weird habits. I'm not talking about normal, everyday habits or sensible habits. I'm talking about just the weird ones. Anyway, I'm kind of waffling on because I am in that mode where I'm procrastinating from getting started, but I know that as soon as I get started, I will make forward motion. I mean, one can hope. And we're going to start with some embroidery, I think, because I've sewn this patch in to essentially a little window. I just feel like it needs a little something. A little something, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And you can come with me to the other end of the office where we are going to select embroidery floss. Behold my stuff. I think green. Maybe. Nope. 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 Definitely not. One, but nope. Nope. Maybe you. Maybe you. Fine, we're going with green. One of these two. Now back to the other end of the office again. Now you might notice that neither of these are the thread that I just chose. Yeah, it kind of goes like that sometimes. I basically brought the threads over here and then realised I didn't want to do a border after all, so they went back. So I've decided just to do one cheeky little daisy there. I don't want to do too much because there's quite a lot of detail going on already. And I just think a little embroidered something will add a little something. So yes, we're going with a daisy. Don't worry, this is a heat erasable pen, and although I am drawing all over this and it looks like a little squash spider, it's actually going to be a cute little daisy. Just as soon as I can find my needle. I don't know how much of that I got because at some point as I was stitching my battery ran out. But we have a cheeky daisy there and there's a small one up here. Hello. Turns out that yesterday when my battery ran out and I replaced it with another battery, I replaced it with another battery that also needed charging and interrupted me when I was mid-sentence, didn't it? I know, how rude. Anyway, I basically decided not to film anymore because I was getting angry. Everything was going wrong yesterday. So I just put all of my batteries on charge and cracked on with the sewing. Want to see? Okay, so I've turned these around so that you can get a better look. As you can see, they're all sewn up. I just need to add the cord and we are ready to take photographs and list them. And in the spirit of experimentation, I decided to stabilise these with interfacing, and I left this one without. So it's not quite as sturdy, it doesn't hold its shape or sit up by itself, whereas these ones obviously do. The thing that I'm not so sure about though, although these hold their shape perfectly, can you hear that? They kind of got a bit of a crunchy sound to them, which I'm not sure that I like. I know, I'm probably getting very fussy, but I am nothing if not my own worst critic, so yeah. This one, obviously floopier, but it doesn't have that crunchy sound. So, bringing you back up, because I I would like to ask you a question if you don't mind. If you are a knitter or a crocheter or anyone who uses project bags, do you prefer something that's a bit more sturdy when you fold it down? Because we bring this back. I make my bag so that you can fold them down and create a little basket because I think it holds the yarn better. So do you prefer that, or does it not matter? Because I mean, you can still fold this one down and it can still create that little basket. It's just, it's not as it's not as sturdy. What would you be going for? What would you be looking for? Would you be looking for sturdiness or loosey-goosiness? Or would it not matter either way? Yeah, so I can make up my mind, because going forward I've got no clue. I definitely like the sturdiness of how these look, but I can't tell if it's a waste of time or if it would be annoying. From a pricing standpoint, these would have to be priced ever so slightly higher than this one, for example, because this was one quicker to make, and also I'm not using as much in the way of materials to make it, because obviously there's the interfacing, which does just make things a little bit more, it's not hard. I can still make these up quite quickly, but there are other things to take in mind and to consider when you're making them. Anyway, I'm yapping. Seeing as there is nothing else to show you, because I did it all yesterday because I had no battery power, let's just go and have a little sit down and a cup of tea, and I'll yap to you some more while I add the cord. Okay. We were going to talk about weird habits, weren't we? And this is partly because I want to see if anybody else does anything similar. If not the same things, then just their own version of weird habits. So let's just dive in with the first one, which I'm blaming YouTube for this one. I talk to myself a lot out loud, or at least I used to. I do tend to do this less now that my daughter's home all of the time. But when I was in the house on my own and my husband was at work and my daughter was at school, yeah, I would catch myself talking out loud a lot. It was a bit embarrassing, to be honest. If I was about to film, for example, I would be running through what I would have to say. I don't script my videos, but more the points that I had to cover. And my brain would think, oh, you could say this. And I would catch myself saying it out loud, as if to practice, which, you know, that kind of makes sense. It became a problem as well, because once I'd said this thing out loud, it was almost as if I was tricking my brain into thinking that it was done and dusted, and then when it came to actually sit down and film the video for real, I would forget the thing or the good point that I had in the kitchen that I was saying out loud while I was making my tea. So yeah, in a way it's good that my daughter is now home all the time, because it stops me from walking around the house chatting nonsense to myself. The other weird one is definitely something I still do. I have different mugs for different jobs. What I mean by that is I will have a different mug or a different set of mugs that I use for filming. I don't know why, but this one is a go-to. And when I'm editing, I tend to go for my larger mugs because they just hold more. And, you know, if I'm sat there editing, which is not my favourite job in the world, to be brutally honest with you, I like having a big old cup of tea or coffee. It just helps it along. But it's not just mugs, actually. I have, going into it now, I have favourite jumpers for various jobs as well. So for example, you might see this one quite a lot in my videos. It's not because it's one of the few jumpers I own, it's just one of my, I see it and I'm like, yeah, I feel confident in that jumper. I like it, I'm going to wear it. It's just a filming jumper. Whereas I will choose something a lot bigger, a lot scrappier, but a lot more comfortable, softer to wear when I'm editing. Not that it really matters what it looks like, because it's usually covered with my blanket hoodie or my dressing gown, which also has a hood. And I just, I really do go for comfort and goblin mode when I'm editing, because did I mention I didn't like it? I just have different jumpers for different jobs, different mugs for different jobs. Please tell me I'm not the only one. And I don't think this is that weird, but I do have secret snacks. When I say secret snacks, I mean office snacks, because if I don't hide some things, they get snaffled by either the husband or the kid, and I've got to talk quietly because if she can hear me, then she'll know that I have secret snacks and they won't be secret anymore. And I can hear movements at the top of the stairs, so I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is making my pets part of my business, as in they are my business employees. Charlie, for example, he hangs out with me in the mornings, so he is my partner in crime, my business colleague in the morning. And Luna likes to pop in randomly, usually to shout at me about something, so I guess he's the manager. The general manager, you know, the one that's never around all the time but then just pops in to be difficult. Charlie's the loaf that does the bare minimum and goes home. And I see this a lot, and no judgment because, as I say, I do it. I think it's because when you're working alone, you kind of miss, I don't know, I have to be careful when I say this because I personally don't miss working with people. But I do miss the camaraderie, I suppose. You know, those water cooler moments that when I was working in an office, it used to be a pain sometimes, but you know when you want to get up and make yourself a cup of tea, it's just considered nice to offer the people around you a cup of tea as well. This is obviously not doable for everyone and not applicable to every job, but I worked in an office where we had teams, and you'd offer tea for the people in your team. So there was only about like a small handful of us, and it's funny that is one of the things that I miss. It's not just getting up to make myself a cup of tea, it's having other people that I can offer tea to, which is weird because it was one of the things that used to bug me when I was working, that I couldn't just get up and make myself a cup of tea. I had to ask everybody else if they wanted a tea or coffee and how did they like it, and so yes, by making my pets my work colleagues, I can offer them a cup of tea to my heart's content, and I will never have to make them one. Oh, this one, the last one that I've got down here is saving my favourite jobs for Fridays, which is today. And these are more the stitching on the sofa jobs, the ones that I sort of save so that I can sit down, get myself all cosy with my hot drink of choice, and I can just stitch and create or paint if I'm painting fabric. It's definitely saved for the more creative, crafty side of the business. And I think that is just, it's the end of the week, so you don't really have the will or the energy to start anything new, and it's just perfect to wind down with while at the same time being productive and getting a very important part of my business done. So I can sit down and feel like I'm relaxing and taking it easy while actually working. But weirdly, Fridays are the only days that I feel comfortable doing that. If I tried to do that on a Monday, there'd be this other part of my brain going, no, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But usually by Fridays, I've got my videos filmed, edited, and ready to go. This week is the exception. There's been a lot going off this week. The last few weeks have been a bit up in the air, if I'm being brutally honest. But usually, Fridays are my creating days. I do create at other days as well, but I like to save my favourite jobs for Fridays. Okay, that's another bag done and dusted. Wonderful. Be able to get these up next week. Exciting! As I said, it is a Friday, so I'm going to stop now so that I can edit this video so that I can have a few hours of this day, because there is going to be another project bag going up, but I need to embroider something, so that's what I'm going to go and do. Do you have any weird habits? If you do, please come and tell me. If for no other reason, then I won't feel quite so weird and on my own. with my weirdness. Come join me with the weirdness, or at the very least, as I say, if you are a project bag user, let me know. Do you like the squishy, loosey-goosey ones, or do you like the ones that are a bit more stable, hold their shape? Come and chat to me, and we'll keep the conversation going in the comments. As always, have a lovely week, and I will see you next week for a new video, and I will see you then. Ta-ra!